Evolution of Tinkerbell. Peter Pan 1953.
One night in London, Tinkerbell and Peter Pan visit the home of the Darling family, where he accidentally left his living shadow. During one of his previous visits, using her light, Tinkerbell scopes through the house. While searching, Tinkerbell finds and lands on a hand mirror and looks at herself. They eventually find the shadow, but accidentally trap Tink inside and wake Wendy Darling, the oldest Darling child, in the process.
The Black Cauldron 1985.
In this animated movie, Tinkerbell can briefly be seen amongst the other sprites, emerging to meet Torun and her friends.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit 1988.
Tinkerbell appears at the very end in this movie. First briefly seen after Roger reads Marvin Acme's will, then seen helping Porky Pig close the movie with her pixie dust.
Peter Pan 1988.
Peter Pan is an Australian 50-minute direct-to-video animated movie from Burbank Films, Australia. It was originally released in 1988. The movie is based on J.M. Barrie's 1911 novel Peter and Wendy, adapted by Paul Eden, which was in turn based on the 1904 play Peter Pan.
Peter Pan and the Pirates 1990.
During numerous adventures, Peter Pan, Tinkerbell, and their true friends will have to fight Captain Hook and his gang of idlers. Differences from J.M. Barrie's book or other adaptations of Peter Pan include Tinkerbell speaks the same language as the other characters, not a tinkling of bells.
Hook 1991.
Portrayed by Julia Roberts. Tinkerbell has brown hair. She wears a brown, tattered shirt and tattered shorts, and she's always barefoot. When Captain James Hook kidnaps Peter Pan's children, Tinkerbell helps an adult Peter Pan to return to Neverland and reclaim his youthful spirit in order to challenge his old enemy.
Trail Mixup 1993.
Tinkerbell appears as the cameo character. We can see her as one of the bees that were spitted out by Roger Rabbit.
House of Mouse 2001.
Tinkerbell made numerous cameo appearances in this animated series. In Goofy's menu, Magic Mickey asks Tink to spy on Goofy in order to learn the secret to his delicious stew. Instead, Goofy accidentally uses Tink as an ingredient, creating a flying stew that flooded the club. In Chip and Dale, Tink helps the Lost Boys open a bag of nuts. Right after Pete demands her to open his bag, but she sprays him with pixie dust, causing him to fly uncontrollably.
Snowden at the House of Mouse 2001.
Tink appears at the very end to close out the movie.
Return to Neverland 2002.
Tink and Peter are having a normal day in Neverland when they stop by the Jolly Roger to visit and annoy Captain Hook. When they arrive, Hook claims to have his dearest Wendy held captive. Peter battles the evil pirate, but Hook throws Wendy overboard to be eaten by an octopus. Peter rushes down to save her, and Tink follows close behind. When Pan seems to have finally met his end, he emerges from the water, and Tink uses her pixie dust to lift the octopus and land him on Hook's ship. Peter and Tink then leave the scene to free the prisoner instead of Wendy. However, they find her daughter Jane. Tink takes an immediate disliking toward her, similar to her disliking of Wendy in the first movie.
Mickey's House of Villains 2002.
Tink restores the House of Mouse's logo after Mickey successfully foils the Disney villains.
Peter Pan 2003.
True to the book, she is mischievous and a bit childish in her ways. She is very expressive and communicates with others via energetic gestures, facial expressions, and fairy noises. Her relationship with Peter Pan is such that she becomes easily jealous of anyone having his attention, to the point of killing someone, but she is also loyal and brave.
Wish is a magical gathering of Disney Dreams 2003.
The show is hosted by Jiminy Cricket and the Blue Fairy, and revolves around the wishes of famous Disney characters, good and bad. Tinkerbell appears when she flies from the tallest spire of Cinderella Castle,
The Lion King 1 2004.
Tinkerbell appears as the silhouette cameo character at the end.
Tinkerbell 2008.
This movie tells of Tink's history, long before she met Peter Pan. According to the movie, Tinkerbell was born from a baby's first laugh in a white dandelion seed. She arrives in Pixie Hollow, located in Neverland. Upon her arrival, she was able to talk to her friends, and her magical talent is found by showing her a number of objects related to each very talent, which will react to her if that is her innate magical talent. Ironically, the only object she passes over when looking for her talent is the Tinker Hammer, but her inner talent is so skillfully gifted
and strong that the hammer goes to her.
Tinkerbell and the Lost Treasure 2009.
On the eve of the holiday, Tinkerbell gets a great honor with the help of a magic stone that turns moonlight into an extraordinary pollen that gives new strength to the magic tree to make a magic scepter. By an absurd accident, she breaks a stone which threatens the survival of her entire race. Tinkerbell travels far north of Neverland to patch things up and restore a pixie dust tree.
Tinkerbell and the Great Fairy Rescue 2010.
Tinkerbell and Lizzie become good friends and trust each other. The fairy decides to show the fairy world to a little girl, endangering the entire fairy country in the process.
The Pixie Hollow Games 2011.
When the traditional Pixie Hollow games arrive, Tinkerbell and Fairy Mary represent the Tinker Talent Fairies, competing against all the other talents in the world of the fairies. Eventually, Tink and Fairy Mary were eliminated. And when they were, Tink began to support the combined efforts of Rosetta and her teammate Chloe, as garden fairies have a history of losing every year, with no wins whatsoever.
A Poem Is 2011.
A Poem Is a mini-series featured on the Disney Junior channel. The series consists of 21 retold classic poems read by celebrity guests. Each episode begins with several young children speaking about what they believe a poem is. The series' most notable feature, however, is that the clips are taken from classic and current Disney animated features and shorts.
Jake and the Neverland Pirates 2012.
Tinkerbell makes her first appearance in the special Neverland Rescue. Tinkerbell was the magical ball of light sent by the Guardian to guide Jake on his quest to save Neverland. And furthermore, the Guardian was none other than Peter Pan, as he and Tink were testing Jake for one day he'll become Neverland's Guardian. Tinkerbell reappears in the special episode, Battle for the Book. Peter Pan is summoned by Wendy and her brothers to stop Captain Hook from destroying her Book of Neverland. But Peter is unable to help because he's currently battling a vicious sea beast that has entered Mermaid Lagoon. So Peter asks Tinkerbell to accompany Jake and his crew as they travel to London to help Wendy and her brothers.
Secret of Wings 2012.
Tinkerbell wanders into the forbidden winter woods and meets Periwinkle. Together they learn the secret of their wings and try to unite the warm fairies and the winter fairies to help Pixie Hollow.
Electric Holiday 2012.
Tink appears in this animated short movie, sprinkling pixie dust on the entrance to a fashion show's runway, allowing the Disney characters that enter to gain the bodies of world-renowned fashion icons as they strut down the runway.
Once Upon a Time 2013.
Tinkerbell appears in Season 3, played by Rose McIver. Her first appearance is in Quite a Common Fairy, where Tinkerbell is portrayed as a fairy among the ranks of the Blue Fairy. When the young Regina fell from her balcony, Tink saves her life by using her pixie dust to allow Regina flight. Afterward, the two form a friendship of sorts. However, the Blue Fairy detested the relationship and forbids Tinkerbell to continue to see Regina. This induced Tink to prove to the Blue Fairy that Regina can find good despite her background.
Saving Mr. Banks 2013.
Tinkerbell appears in this movie with Walt Disney Tom Hanks, as a nod to Walt Disney's appearances on television.
The Pirate Fairy 2014.
Tinkerbell and her 5 best friends Fawn, Rosetta Iridescent, Silvermist and Vidya go after a misguided and robed dustkeeper fairy named Serena to return the vital blue fairy dust she had stolen, rightful place in Pixie Hollow. After confronting Serena, Tinkerbell has her innate tinkering abilities swapped and becomes a water fairy. She is uncertain of her recently acquired water-controlling abilities and accidentally creates huge waves, puddles, downpours, and whirlpools with just a touch or snap of her fingers.
Tinkerbell and the Legend of the NeverBeast 2014.
Tinkerbell appears along with the other fairies, where she helps Fawn to protect the mythical, legendary NeverBeast from harm. Just like in Pixie Hollow games, Tinkerbell is not the main character, but a supporting one replaced by Fawn.
Robot Chicken, Season 8 2015.
Peter Pan along with Tinkerbell meet Tinkerbell and Stinkerbell.
Ralph Breaks the Internet 2018.
Tinkerbell can briefly be seen on All My Disney at the catering table with Peter's shadow, Grumpy and Hey Hey.
The Simpsons in Plus Adversary 2021.
Tinkerbell was seen at Moe's Tavern for the Disney Plus 2-year anniversary party. She entered the party with a +1.
Peter Pan and Wendy 2023.
Yaris Shahidi will portray Tinkerbell in a live-action movie adaptation of the 1953 animated movie.